Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of the Me&You podcast. This is a conversation between me and you, the listener. I'm hoping that this conversation can continue in spaces like Instagram or Patreon. My name is Rebecca. I'm your host, and I'm so excited to be with you today. And I'm really excited to talk about the specific topic today because I think that this can really lay the foundation for how I approach healing and self evolution and goal setting on this podcast. So, I want to say that this is a safe space on the internet for reflection and compassionate community. I am only providing a place for reflection and honesty. I am not someone who has all the answers. I'm not perfect. I'm definitely still trying to figure this shit out. So I just want to create a compassionate community where we can kind of do that together. And today, the specific episode about a bite sized approach to healing is sort of a mindset. And it's a mindset that I want to cultivate here and build on over the next few episodes. So, when I think about a bite sized approach to healing, I'm thinking about that feeling of like knowing that you want to achieve something. Like maybe you have a goal, maybe it's career related, maybe it's personal endeavors, maybe it's creative, maybe it's relational, etc. And you end up getting so overwhelmed by all the moving parts of it that either one, you end up doing nothing at all and putting it off because you procrastinate it because you're scared of it, or two, you do end up doing it and you ram it in and you do all these things and then the motivation dies out and you're left with kind of nothing. Like kind of an example of this is I love to sing and I love to write. I love to play the guitar, etc. Stuff like that. So I would plan a million things to do, and I'd be like, "Oh, I need to get really good at playing the guitar. I need to practice this much time a week, and then I also need to practice my singing. But I also need to do my schoolwork. I was, a student at the time. Like I also have to do my work and make money and live, and I need to pour into my relationships, and I also want to work on my writing. And I had so many moving parts that I would get really overwhelmed by them. But first, sometimes I would get really motivated. And so I would create an entire plan and was like, this is my routine now, and this is how I'm going to move forward. And I'm not even kidding. That shit would last like 3 days, not even, maybe not even 3 days. Maybe if I was lucky, a week or two. And then I would just die right out. And I would feel so ashamed of myself. I suck at setting goals. I can't stick to anything. I'm never going to get where I want to be. And it was just like a spiral. I was just like stuck on this hamster wheel. And one of the things that I kind of want to mention is like motivation. When you're solely writing motivation, you're not working with a lot because motivation is beautiful, wonderful, but motivation is momentum. So if your motivation dies out, then so does the momentum a lot of times. And then we end up stopping and we end up feeling really bad about ourselves and we don't end up moving forward at all. So I want to talk about creating more consistency and sustainability rather than this short lived motivation. Well, this is about enjoying the process of your life and not idolizing a destination. This will keep you more involved with the things that you're hoping to do. And I really do hope that this conversation can reach far more than just the idea of healing, but kind of just like growth, like a growth oriented mindset of like, anything that you want to work on, anything that you're passionate about, anything that you see yourself evolving to. And like I said, that can be related to your relationships, that can be related to your career, it could be related to your personal hobbies or your artistic endeavors. It could be so many different things, maybe your athletic goals, etc., health goals. So I'm hoping that we can kind of shift the conversation there and kind of talk about like how do we create sustainable habits and sustainable routines that we can stick to over time. So healing and growth feeds on one another, and that's a relief. By being exactly where you are, you will get exactly where you need to be. And that is like really hard to take in sometimes because for me, I was like, no, 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 no. But if I pour into one thing, I'm never going to get where I want because I'm just going to be doing this one thing. If I only pour into my singing, then I'm only going to be a singer and I'm not going to be a writer, a guitarist, or an athlete or my relationships won't be strong. I'll just be consumed by this thing. And then I'll have this one thing that's really strong and the rest are not. What I'm trying to say is that there's a relief and there's a release of tension when you realize that everything you're doing is feeding on one another. And that's so, oh my gosh, it's so relieving, guys. It has helped me to release so much tension, knowing that by being exactly where I am and having both eyes on on the present, I'm moving exactly where I need to in the future. So there's a story I heard a really long time ago. I might have heard it from, I think Martha Beck had said it on her podcast, Bewildered, where she talks about this really eager Zen student who goes to his master and he's like, I really 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 want to get Zen, like I really want to um achieve my goals, like if I work really really hard every single day, how long until I get to my goals, how long until I reach Zen? And his master thinks about it and then he says, 10 years. And the guy's like, "What? Like, okay, what if I work extremely hard every day, only focus on this, block everything else? Like, what then? How soon then?" And he says, well, 20 years. And the conversation kind of continues like this. And the student ends up saying, every time I say I'll work harder to get to my goal, you say it'll take longer. And why? And the master says, as long as you have one eye on your future, you only have one eye on your path. And that's where you are right now. But we need to have both eyes on our path. The story goes something like that. I'm not quoting it verbatim. So I don't want to claim that I like know that story down pat, but when I heard it a really long time ago, like it really stuck with me. And I was like, shit, yeah. Oh my God. I am so focused on being this idealized, perfect version of myself that I'm robbing myself of liking my life, like being in the present. And it really stuck with me. So I wanted to share that with you. But the biggest thing that I really want to talk about is this like shame spiral that we get into when we don't move forward. So we have the idea about how we want to do all these things, we bite off more than we can chew, and then it doesn't end up working out. Life happens, your job takes it out of you. You don't have any energy after work. Like just things happen. Maybe your car gets fucked up, or the kids, if you have children, they need special attention in certain areas, or things are going on with them, or maybe something happens with your living situation or your relationships. So many things can happen, or maybe your motivation just straight up dies out, which is okay. And you end up like in this shame spiral. And I want to think about this shame spiral. I'm like taking my hand right now and I'm like drawing it in a circle, like again and again and again, like facing my fingertip. My index finger is like facing towards the ground, and I'm just like drawing a big circle with my hand right now, because it's this idea of like when you get into a shame spiral, well, when you get into shame, it's a spiral that only moves in place. It doesn't actually take you forward. And I'm laughing about that now, but that shame spiral gets real nasty for me. Like, I will say some really, really awful things to myself. I will start to sabotage my creative endeavors, my personal goals, my health, etc. And that shame spiral isn't really taking us anywhere. I think sometimes we act like criticalness, and this is, oh my God, such a big lesson for me right now, that like criticalness is a link to growth. So, like, if I'm hard on myself and I push myself, I'm going to get where I need to be. And it's not saying that we need to swing the entirely opposite way, but it's like, let's find more of a balance there. So, being really mean to yourself isn't the way to get forward. And shame doesn't grow, love grows. You know what I mean? Like when you love something, that's when it grows. When you shame something, that's when it shrinks and that's when it retracts. And that's not what we're trying to do here. It's not as easy as just like dropping the shame. Trust me, y'all. I know. I have episodes planned for the future where we will dedicate time to shame, because that shit really gets in the way and it's such a roadblock that we create for ourselves. And obviously, culture and society is influencing that, and our relationships sometimes are influencing that. But a lot of times we are choosing to put this shame on ourselves. And I don't want that for us. I want better for us. So today, I just really wanted to drill in this idea of creating a foundation of sustainability and consistency rather than idealizing some sort of far off goal or version of yourself. Okay. And I want to talk about mental maintenance, which I plan to get more into next week on the episode Creating Anchors in Your Routine. These are little mental maintenance habits that I have created that have helped me to stay more present and capable in my life. And that has helped me to stay more consistent with my goal setting. So I want to get into that more next week, but I really wanted to just talk about a bite sized approach to healing today because I wanted you to understand where I'm coming from as we continue to move forward with topics on this podcast. Like I said, I want nothing more than for this conversation to continue. I don't want this to be a space where I'm just like lecturing. I understand that I'm the one on the podcast and I'm the one with the mic right now and I'm the one talking, but we all have voices and they are so powerful and they are so, so valuable. So I wholeheartedly would love for this conversation to continue on Instagram and on Patreon. The Instagram is at the Me and You podcast. And same with Patreon. My goal for Patreon is to make the monthly subscription as low as I can so that it's as accessible as possible. I'm really hoping to create a compassionate and kind community. I want this episode to be enough for you guys, and I want to share my heart with you over these next few episodes or over this podcast time. But I'm so grateful to have been here with you today. I'm so grateful to have been sharing with you. Next week, I'm hoping that we can really talk about some accessible habits and ways to kind of maintain your peace and a healthy heart and a healthy mind so that you have the energy to approach the things that you actually want to and that you can cultivate more sustainability and consistency in them. I'm really grateful that you guys were here with me today. I am not perfect. I don't know everything. These are not answers. These are jumping off points, and I would love your feedback on them. I hope that you have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your week, and I am already itching to connect with you again next time. Thank you so much. Bye.